Chaos has taken over Bangladesh. Ever since the fall of Sheikh Hasina's government in August, there have been hundreds of attacks against Hindus, the biggest minority group in Muslim-majority Bangladesh. Even Muhammad Yunus himself has admitted to the targeting of minorities happening and visited Dhaka's historic Dhakeshwari temple to reassure the country's Hindu community. In fact, the country is sliding into terror chaos. It seems to be turning into a terror hub. Let's break it down for you. The new UK travel advisory warns that terror attacks are likely in Bangladesh. The advisory comes as Sheikh Hasina accuses the current regime of orchestrating genocide. Let me tell you what the UK advisory says. Terrorists are likely to try to carry out attacks in Bangladesh. Terrorist attacks could be indiscriminate, including in places visited by foreign nationals. Some groups have targeted people who they consider to have views and lifestyles contrary to Islam. There have been occasional attacks against minority religious communities and targeting police and security forces. These have included improvised explosive device attacks in major cities. Canada also asking its citizens to exercise a high degree of caution. It reads, exercise a high degree of caution in Bangladesh due to possible demonstrations, clashes, and nationwide general strikes. The security situation could deteriorate with little warning. The U.S. State Department, in its 2022 terrorism report, had mentioned that Bangladesh experienced few instances of terrorist violence as authorities continued, quote-unquote, to pursue militants rigorously, particularly Al-Qaeda-affiliated groups and an ISIS-affiliated JMB offshoot, Neo-JMB, quote-unquote. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and other Bangladeshi government officials frequently emphasized on Bangladesh's zero-tolerance policy on terrorism and continued to deny the presence of globally organized terror groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. In October of 2022, Bangladesh authorities announced operations to disrupt Jamaat-ul Ansar fil Hind al-Sharqiya, allegedly an Al-Qaeda-inspired group. US-trained Bangladesh police units arrested dozens of terrorist suspects. However, other elements of the security forces have conducted extrajudicial killings and committed other human rights violations. In 2021, goons attacked Hindu temples in Bangladesh during Durga Puja. In 2016, Islamic State claimed responsibility for murdering a Christian convert in Bangladesh, but the government rejected the Islamic State's claims of involvement, blaming political opponents instead. During Khalida Zia's tenure, anti-India forces had a free run to use Bangladesh as a staging post for terrorism and other subversive activities. It is alleged that Pakistan's ISI maintained a strong presence in Dhaka during her last years in power between 2001 and 2006. In fact, Pakistan's inter-services intelligence was instrumental behind a series of terror attacks in India through the terror groups. The insurgent groups from India's northeast operated out of bases in Bangladesh, allegedly under ISI's patronage during the BNP rule. After Hasina returned to power, she ordered a crackdown and handed over the insurgent leaders to India. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.